What's up, FreshBaked? Happy Friday to you all. A couple of news items that have broken over the last 24 hours that I wanted to share with everybody before the weekend. And since we haven't been able to do a proper construction update for the past couple of weeks because, well, there hasn't been any construction going on, at least none that we can see, this now seems to be the proper opportunity to show you this. The scene is ToonTown, and that's an excavator eviscerating an array of buildings around the Gag Factory in ToonTown. It looks pretty bad, and some have even taken this sort of the wrong way, going as far as to thinking that Disney was, destroying ToonTown, or some people were rejoicing that Disney was destroying ToonTown, but no, that is not the case. This is just those buildings located or attached to or part of the Gag Factory. Here's the scene before the demo crew showed up, and you can see that the buildings that were being destroyed are these guys right here. That's the Five and Dime, which is essentially the exit to the Gag Factory. It's two buildings, the Gag Factory. It's two building facades that hold the same gift shop. You enter through the Gag Factory and typically exit through Five and Dime. And that puts you out into the old town square area there. This is from FreshBaked Street Team member Nick Mondonka. This is the aftermath. The crews have stopped working and you can kind of see all the steel and rubble, etc. Here's a shot he took from Gadget's Go coaster. And it looks like they are, in fact, just taking this right up to City Hall there. You can see City Hall on the left still intact. Great shots from Nick. Thank you very much. And he earned himself a Dole Whip for his efforts. So thank you very much to the street team out there. By the way, if you are in the parks and you see anything that you think would be interesting to FreshBaked, or that you want to report on, maybe the fans of the show might be interested in seeing, take a picture, shoot a little video, and then send it to me. You can either send it to me directly to david@freshbakedisney.com via email, or you can add us on Twitter or DM me on Twitter with the video and let us know what's happening, or just tell us a story. If you see anything that's worth noting, let us know. Join the FreshBaked Street Team and help out the FreshBaked cause. Now, the scene does look pretty bad, as I mentioned, but it's not as bad as it appears. This actually was to be expected. Well, sort of. Disney, as we all know, is in the process of building Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway. And back when this announcement first happened, it was our understanding that the entrance to this building, to the show building that they're building in the backstage areas of ToonTown, that the entrance to that building was going to go through the Gag Factory. Now, I had initially thought, based on nothing, just my own observation, I had thought perhaps that they would just go through the Gag Factory, leave the building intact, or maybe have to do some modifications to it, but simply go through the Gag Factory, come out the other end backstage into Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway, but that does not appear to be the case. They are going to completely rebuild that entrance, which is good because that helps to create more of a polished, finished look than just refitting an existing structure. So kudos to Disney for doing the right thing here and building something from scratch as opposed to just redoing the Gag Factory. Otherwise, there isn't much to see here with regard to the construction of the ride of Runaway Railway. All the construction that's happening now is happening indoors in that completed show building. We occasionally get a view from Gadget's Go coaster. We might do that when we visit next week. But this is what we've got now is, though, a scene, a construction scene that's going to be there for probably a year or year and a half. Now, on that topic, I'm curious about, people have noted, and it is strange, I will admit, it is strange to see Disney doing something of this nature, something as graphic as a excavator destroying actual on-property, Disneyland park property in the middle of the day in broad daylight. That is interesting. And, normally they save that kind of thing for at night or behind, a larger construction wall that we've seen. That construction wall that's there is barely head high. So I'm wondering if that means anything. As I want to do, I tend to infer stuff if I can. The original deadline that we had heard for Runaway Railway was going to be 2023. That was the expected delivery date. That's a long time. It wasn't supposed to take that long. They were going to finish in 22, then they pushed it back to 23. The reason being, as I understand it, was that there was either going to be a shortage of budget or a shortage of the necessary construction crews. They were going to be going on different projects, and the project, the Runaway Railway project, was going to go off and on. They're going to be sometimes working, sometimes not. I'm wondering if the fact that they are now doing this demo in the middle of the day, does that signal any kind of urgency, a change in their attitude towards the schedule? We're not going to know for sure for a little while because Disney's not going to say anything, obviously. So it may be another year or so before we know if this is, in fact, a change in the timeline. But what we can do is just watch and let you guys know. We'll be on the scene probably weekly now because it's something to look at, and I do love dirt. Okay, moving on to other news, and this is actually good news for Disneyland cast members. Boy, they really, you know what, I'd like to hear more good news for Disneyland cast members. And this news is that it sounds like, it appears to be the case that Disneyland CMs will no longer have to wear masks outdoors if they are fully vaccinated, which is great news. The distinction that was being made on June 15th between cast members and guests it didn't make any sense to me. The distinction being made since June 15th between guests who didn't have to wear masks and cast members who did was nonsensical, in my opinion. So I'm glad to see that whoever it is that's in charge of making these decisions made this decision. I'm not sure if it's a Disney thing or OSHA or whatever, but I'm just glad now that is the case. Unfortunately, it is only for outdoors. Right now, cast members are still required to wear masks. All cast members are still required to wear masks indoors, but I expect that to change pretty soon. And bottom line is, it's time for things to catch up in that regard. So I'm very happy, very grateful that the Disneyland cast members are going to have that freedom now, and that we're going to be able to see them smile in the park. That makes me happy. Okay, finally, we've got an update on the park hours for the Disneyland Resort. Right now, through June, the park is open from 9 to 9. And it does look like also that the 1 p.m. park hopper rule will remain in effect for at least that long. Some of us were hoping that they would eliminate that because, we're back at regular attendance or regular capacities, or ish anyway, and that there wasn't that worry about if we were hitting capacity. I don't know when they're going to change that. I feel like that's something that should be happening soon. It needs to happen pretty soon, in my opinion. But having said that, it doesn't reconcile very well with the reservation system. So that's something that I'm going to be keeping an eye on to find out, the two things, the reservation system and the park hopper timetable, those two things go hand in hand. Worth watching. Now, for many, we were hoping that the schedule would be extended to the traditional midnight closing or even perhaps 11 p.m., giving us more time in the park. But that does not appear to be the case. Not sure when we should expect to see something like an 11 p.m. close or midnight close. But I would hope by the fall perhaps that might be the case, or early winter, fingers crossed. For now, we're going to have to be content with seeing the 9:30 fireworks show with Mickey's Mixed Magic, which starts at 9:30 p.m. starting July 4th. We will be there to see that show. See the 9:30 p.m. show, and then I guess go home, which in a way is kind of nice because it's like the old traditional kiss goodnight. That was supposed to be the fireworks show back in the day, was the last thing you did. A kiss goodnight from the park, and then everybody went home happy. So stay tuned to FreshBaked for more updates on that and any other operational changes that are coming to the park. And that's going to do it for this update from FreshBaked. Liz and I are going on vacation for a couple of days. We're heading to Las Vegas, so we will be offline probably for the next couple of days. We'll hopefully have news for you and content for you by the middle of next week. But we're going to take a few days off. I have been going hard, nonstop, working 24/7 since basically the new year. So a rest is needed. So we're planning on taking a little break out there in Vegas. I'm not sure if we're going to be vlogging that or not. And if we do, it'll probably land on the Royal Dorks, which is probably good because that channel could probably use a little love. We haven't been updating there very much lately. So stay tuned, I guess. We'll let you know. Otherwise, be safe out there, everybody. Be kind to one another. And FreshBaked